Let's talk about adding rational numbers. Our objective for this lesson is students will be able to add positive and negative fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals. So to start out, we are going to do a little bit of review. First thing is reviewing adding integers. So remember, when we had the same sign, we're going to add and keep the sign, and when we have different signs, we're going to subtract. You'll find out that no matter what we're adding, integers, fractions, mixed numbers, or decimals, these rules are going to stay the same. So just remember that throughout. The rest of it should mostly be review for you, but we will go over again, of course, how to add fractions, how to add mixed numbers, and of course, how to add decimals. So just looking at these examples, we have the same sign we're going to add and keep. So both of these are positive. We're going to add them together. That gives us an 8, and they're positive, so we're going to keep our sign as positive. Looking here, we have -4 plus -2. Well, they're both negative, so we're going to add them together. That gives us 6, and we're going to keep the sign, so it is a -6. And here we have different signs subtract. So here we have 8 plus a -3. You can see our 8 is positive, our 3 is negative. So we're going to take the difference between those two. So if you're just looking at absolute value, we're going to take 8 minus 3. That gives us 5. And of course, we're going to take the sign with the bigger absolute value. That's going to be 8 because there are more positives than there are negatives here. So it's going to be a +5. And looking at this final example to review, we have a -6 plus 2. These are different signs. So we're going to do 6 minus 2 gives you 4. And we have more negatives here, so our answer will be negative. And if we think about this as far as the number line goes, if we start at -6 and we add 2, we are getting bigger. We're moving to the right on that number line, so we get closer to 0, so we're at -4. All right, so moving through here, this video is going to probably get rather lengthy, probably about 10 minutes or so. So feel free to, stop it, pause it, pick out the points that you want between these different things. So when we're talking about adding fractions, again, if we have the same sign, we're going to add the 2 and keep the sign. If we have different signs, we are going to subtract them and keep the sign of whatever's bigger. Remember, anytime we're adding fractions, we must have common denominators. So that's the first thing we're going to do here. We have 2/3 plus a -5/6. You can see these are different denominators. We have a 3 here and a 6. I want to get the same denominators, and I recognize between the two that between 3 and 6, we can have a common denominator of 6. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 2. That'll give us 6, which means I have to multiply our numerator by the same. So when we have a new fraction, it gives us 4/6, and we're going to add to that -5/6. Here now we are adding two fractions that have the same denominator, so our denominator will not change. It'll stay as a 6. And then we just add our numerators like we did the integers. Here we have 4 plus a -5. They are different signs, so we'll subtract them. 5 minus 4 is 1, and we have more negatives because there are 5 negatives and only 4 positives, so it is a -1/6 for our answer. All right, so remember, always have common denominators when we're adding fractions. When we're looking at mixed numbers, same rules, same sign, add and keep, different signs, subtract. We can do it 2 different ways, and I'll show you 2 different examples. Depending upon what your preference is, we can convert to improper fractions, or we can add the whole numbers and the fractions separate. So let me show you how that works. The first one I'm going to do is convert to improper fractions, but we're dealing with fractions again. We want to make sure we have common denominators when we are adding fractions. So here's a 2, here's a 4. I recognize I can turn this 2 into a 4 by multiplying by 2. So I'll multiply the numerator by 2 as well. Remember, multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number to keep your fraction equivalent. So we get a new value of 5 and 2/4. We're going to add to that a -3 and 3/4. And now we have common denominators. From here, we are going to turn these into improper fractions. So if you don't remember what an improper fraction is, it's a fraction that has a larger numerator than the denominator. So a larger top number than the bottom number. And the way we do that is we take our denominator, we multiply it by the whole number, so 4 times 5, and then we add to it the numerator. So 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. And we're going to put that over our denominator. And then we're going to add this. We're going to convert this as well. 4 times 3. And then we're going to add our numerator. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 gives you a negative 15 over 4. From here, we're just going to add like we did on the last slide. Our denominator stays the same. And we are going to add our numerators like we did integers. So we have 22 plus a negative 15, different signs. So we are going to subtract them. 22 minus 15 is 7. And of course, we're going to determine our sign by what we have more of. There are 22 positives and 15 negatives, so our answer is going to stay positive. If you want to convert this back to a mixed number, we're going to take our denominator and divide it into the numerator. That gives us 1. And our remainder is 3 over 4. We're going to keep the denominator the same. So it's going to be 4 goes into 7 one time. We have a remainder of 3, which is our numerator, and it's going to be over 4, our denominator. That's how you do it, converting them into improper fractions. Or you can add up the whole numbers and the fractions separately and then combine them. So let's take a look at this. We have, again, different denominators. We want to make sure they're the same. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. That gives us negative 2 and 4, 6. We're going to add to that negative 1 and 1, 6. And here what we're going to do now is combine our whole numbers. So negative 2 plus negative 1. And then we're going to add to it negative 4, 6. So remember to keep the negative with the fraction. And we're going to add to it a negative 1, 6. So here you can see we have two negatives. We're going to add and keep the sign. Gives us negative 3. And then if we do the same over here, a negative 4 plus a negative 5 gives us a negative 5, 6. Right? Add the two. 4 plus 1 is 5. Both are negative, so it's going to stay negative. And then from here, we are going to combine this. Negative 3 plus a negative 5, 6 gives us a total. Again, these are two negative numbers, gives us a total of negative 3 and 5, 6 for your final answer. And then our last examples we're going to look at are decimals. Our rules are going to stay the same. Same side add and keep, different sign subtract. So just looking at this first example, we have a negative plus a negative, so our result is going to be negative. All right, so we're just gonna, they have the same signs, we're gonna add them together, 12.5 plus 23.1. Now, these are pretty simple decimals, but if the decimals get a lot more challenging, definitely feel free to use a calculator. Just be very, very careful with your signs. All right, so when we add this up, we get 6, 2 and 3 is 5, 1 and 2 is 3, bring our decimal down, gives us an answer of 35.6, and don't forget that negative comes along because a negative plus a negative stays negative. And then finally here we have two decimals with different signs. Looking at these two, can you determine if it's going to be positive or negative? Yeah, it's going to be positive because we have 33.5 positives and only 16.7 negative. So our answer will be positive. And we have different signs, so we're going to subtract here. 33.5 minus 16.7. Even with something like this, if you're struggling a little bit, feel free to use a calculator. No problem there. We'll borrow here. Go 8, 6, and 1. Decimal place goes down, leaving you with an answer of 16.8. And of course, we're dealing with positive and negatives. Always remember, is this positive or negative? Well, we already determined this is going to be a positive answer. So our answer is 16.8. And there you have it. So our summary is when we're adding rational numbers that are integers, fractions, mixed numbers, or decimals, follow the same patterns. The same signs you're going to add and keep, and different signs you will subtract. So remember that fractions need a common denominator in order to add.